Welcome to Ask the Expert, an award-winning daily series from 8:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. to help small businesses. If you have any questions, ask them in the comments of the live feed. If you need any more advice, then join the official Intuit QuickBooks SMB community group on Facebook. Accountants and business experts are on hand 24/7. During this live session, we will be running a poll, so please do engage with it and I'll reveal the results at the end. Well, for those of you who don't know me, welcome. My name is Ketan Makwana. I'm the CEO and Chief Disruptor at Enterprise Lab. And I'm here today to talk to you particularly around capability and capacity. But before we get into this right now, I want to just ask you a couple of quick questions. Do you feel that you're got enough clients or enough business coming through your company or your business today? Do you get to that stage of overwhelm where how do I get more business? How do I increase my prices? What do I do if I can't take any more clients on? How can I increase the capacity of the work that I do? Are you ever come to that actual situation whereby perhaps sometimes you think to yourself, when or where should I be able to get additional resources to join my company? So, you know, maybe other freelancers or perhaps employees. This all comes down to two particular things within your business: capacity and capability. Usually, if you're an individual or a sole trader or someone an independent that's in your own business, you tend to be the one and all. So apart from outsourcing some of your services, some of the areas and roles and responsibilities within your company, so things perhaps like your finances that go through QuickBooks perhaps and then to an accountant, other things perhaps you then take on throughout the in terms of roles and responsibilities throughout the whole circular of your business. So things like the marketing, the pre-sales, the invoicing, right the way through to this the service delivery. So product-based businesses and service-based businesses, you have capacity and capability issues. So from a product-based business, if you are a type of business that has a product that you're selling, if I was to increase the amount of business that you have, so the amount of clients that you would have coming forward, it sounds great on paper. You're making more money, you're selling more product, it's great. But that will actually have an issue with your capacity. Do you have enough capacity to serve all your customers? So if you were, let's say, a florist or a beautician and it's only you in the business, imagine now if I've 10x'd your leads and you've now actually got 10 times more customers trying to come through to get a service or get flowers, you're going to get a little bit overrun, right? That's now having an impact on your capacity. Equally, if you're a service-based business, maybe you're an accountant, maybe you're a web designer, maybe you're a lawyer, or whatever kind of service-based, a coach or a consultant of that nature. If we were to increase the capacity in your business, so if we were to 10x the amount of clients that now want business from you, you're going to have a capability issue, not a capacity issue. You're not going to be able to serve everyone appropriately. And the more you try to serve customers out of your own potential capacity, the more strain it puts on the capability of being able to serve them to the level that you would want to serve them. So what do you have to do? What is the answer? Now, there isn't a silver bullet, but there are some systems that you can consider doing or implementing into your business. Now, one of the first challenges that we find with people that come to us at Enterprise Lab is clients have an issue about taking on more business and being able to put up their prices. They're the two first primary challenges that they will have. So I'm going to talk about service-based businesses first, okay? For all of you that out there, what you have here is going to be a capacity issue followed by capability. The more and more service clients that you try to take on, the more strain you put on your ability to deliver at the level that you will be able to deliver. And that can then have detrimental effects on the fact that your customer may not see the value of what you're putting across and may actually want to renegotiate the price of what you're actually serving them with. So at Enterprise Lab, one of the things that I did when I first started out, because it was really only kind of me and my co-founders, is we were the center of the universe. We were the marketers, we were this, we were that, we were the service deliverers, everything. It got to a stage where my co-founders had actually left the business and it was just me on my own. And you can only do so much. There are only so many hours in the day. So the first thing I started to look at is how can I start to break down the different types of service offerings or service levels. And this actually helps you start to understand the different type of service that you can provide to a different type of client. So what we did is, if you imagine now, or if you've got a pen and paper while you're watching this or listening to this, draw a triangle, okay? Now this isn't a pyramid scheme, so it's a triangle. And what I want you to do is then put 2 lines in the triangle. So imagine now that triangle is cut into 3 different segments. At the bottom, you put in what we call DIY, do it yourself. In the middle, you put WDT, which is we do it together. And at the top, you put DFU, done for you. As a service provision or a service provider, that is the 3 core layers that you're having to look at how you scale and increase capability and capacity in your business. So at the bottom, you'll see the base of the pyramid, or sorry, the triangle. Actually, it's the biggest part. It's the largest surface area. Why? Because this is where the biggest volume of your clients are going to come in from. It's the highest volume of client, but it's also the lowest price product. A DIY product is basically something where you will essentially produce all of your intel, your systems, your strategies, maybe a playbook or a blueprint, and you provide, and what happens is the customer comes in and buys that from you. A lot of people that require services for themselves, they really just need the answers. That's all they're looking for. They want to know how to do things. So why not produce all of this? Take all of your intelligence, pour it into one kind of book, a strategy, a PDF, a 7-day challenge, whatever it needs to look like, and you put a price to it and you just sell it. You just continuously keep selling it. And this is what generates what we call passive income into your business. It means that you've invested time and energy once and you're repeatedly selling through. Now, in the middle, you've got what we call we do it together. Now, in this pace, what you're actually doing is you're actually working with the client. So you're not doing the work for the client, you're helping them to understand how to do it. So normally in these areas, we would charge an hourly rate for our services. So within this kind of situation, it could be a consultation hour, it could be a mentoring hour, a coaching hour, or this is how you do this, or this is how you fill the gap, etc. Now, the secret sauce here, guys, is that as you start to create more and more hours that are being billed at that level, you want to remove yourself away and actually start to bring other freelancers or other people in. But before you bring these freelancers in, you train them into how to deliver that hour of service. Now, let's say, for example, you're charging £200 an hour. You would take £100 of that hour and give it to the freelancer and keep 100 for yourself. And now that also comes in as what we call passive income streams now, because any hours that you're billing that you're not delivering allows you to earn that kind of margin from. So when we started to build this in, and we were doing about 100 hours a month of mentoring at Enterprise Lab, that was netting us around £10,000 a month of pure profit, not having to do the work. That leaves you that small triangle at the top, which is the DFU, the done for you service. Now, a done for you service is where you actually apply all of your skills, your expertise, your time to do something for the client. And at this point, it enables you to increase your price as well. A done for you is the smallest triangle because it's a higher ticket product or service, but has a smaller number of clients. So in my world, at some point, we went through a period on a done for you segment where I had 10 clients where I worked with them for 10 months and I charged them £10,000 a month. So that makes £1 million out of 10 clients at the top there. So essentially, that's how you can systemize and start to build out. The reason why a lot of you would feel the overwhelm that you can't push out and take more clients is because you're trying to take the client on and serve them by yourself. And the issue that you have with that is as you get stretched by capacity, you will get stretched in your capability. And it's the same sort of thing that you've got to think about from a product-based business as well. A product-based business, you need to increase the capacity to serve. That will help you maintain the capability. The capability is not anything different. What you've got to think about here is, if we were to increase the number of people coming and buying a particular product, what systems do we have in place to make sure that we serve them appropriately? Do we need to increase our logistics? Do we need to increase storage? Do we need to renegotiate the way in which we get the supply of our products in? These are all the operational challenges that you've got to think about there. So just a little bit around this. I know that the 3-layer system about capacity and capability, it's gold. It's absolute gold. So think about it for yourself. What are the things that you are talking to people daily about? Daily, it's the challenges, the common things that you coming up against with your clients. Stop saying it to them, stop explaining it to them, wasting your time in the hours. Put it into a playbook, give it to them, get them to buy the playbook. That means here's the answers, go away and do it. The second bit is start to break down some of the consultative pieces in your services and actually charge by the hour, which means that you can start breaking away that. You can increase your price per hour as well. And eventually, as you get more and more hours built in, so you don't do those hours, you start to outsource those hours to other people. That will leave you the time to do the high ticket stuff. And that's how you will actually build, like, let's say, for example, £1 million into your business. So hopefully that's giving you guys a little bit of insight into how you increase capacity and maintain your capability at the same time. Now, I know there are questions coming through thick and fast. Please keep them coming. I want to take on as many questions as I can. We've got about 19 minutes or so keep them coming, and I'll do my very best to get through all of them. So let's start with Johan. Johan from Facebook Messenger says, my business partner and I are looking to recruit our 2 first employees in the near future. Do you have any advice what to think about when recruiting for a startup? Even though we all have some clarity of roles as a small team, we will have to wear many hats. Obviously, when you're a startup, Johan, you do wear many hats, but it's important to understand 3 principal things when you're actually bringing people into your team. Number 1, you're bringing a personality and character into your team. Okay, so you need to build the culture. This is the way we do things in our company. You've got to build the systems and the structure. Let the personality come in on top of that kind of role and structure. So even though you are wearing many hats, it's really good right now for you guys to go down and break down all the different roles and build a little short, small technical specification of what is the role, how does it work, what do you have to do, what don't you do, what are the reporting procedures and processes. If you build this into an operations manual, you can have 1 page just for that one particular role. That gives you the structure and context. It will also allow you to start understanding what type of personality and character that you want in your business. The next second principle that you need to think about here is hire on talent, not skill. Okay? Recruit on talent, not skill. Skill is something that people practice and build into place. Talent is something that comes naturally. You're naturally born with it. So, there are certain athletes that can endure particular things. That's because of a natural talent. Tiger Woods, for example, in golf, had a natural talent towards golf. Then the skill element is a practice. So becoming good at playing the piano, for example, is a skill. So what you've got to do is, as you're interviewing for the roles, you've got to really start to look deeper and say, what part of this is exuding naturally out of the individual? Does that fit with the culture and the values of our company? And do they demonstrate the capability of being able to undertake that role? So that's how that's what you should be looking for. If you hire based on talent rather than skill, you'll find that actually someone can start to be molded or learn the skills of their trade whilst they're working with you, and they will probably stay longer with you and give you better results. And the third thing to do is don't just jump straight on the fact that someone has written something fantastic on their resume or they've given you a cracking interview. I would have a 3-stage process that you build in. First stage is obviously understanding their capability and capacity. in regards to and the relevance to the role. The second thing is obviously their personality and character when you do their interview, but actually give them some form of challenge, get them to do something within the organization so you can see what they look like under the operating conditions of the business itself. It's very, very difficult or tricky when you're recruiting people, because people have high energy, optimism, enthusiasm right at the beginning. They will say anything you want to hear, or you want, they want you to hear, basically. And then what happens is, as you go further down the line, when the honeymoon period finishes, that's when you start to really learn that there are certain things that weren't as quite as they seem. So 3 principles very quickly again. Operations manual, create a role specification and a technical process of how that role works. Hire based on talent rather than skill, and make sure that you actually have a staged process that allows you to see all the different elements, not just about what they say they can do, what their personality character looks like, but also do they walk the talk itself. So great question to start off with. So Elishiva, I hope I've pronounced that name correctly. Morning, Ketan. What are the best methods to test our pricing strategy? We are working on the idea for a marketplace for small app developers and figuring out the pricing strategy we should go for. Okay, pricing strategies they can be a little bit of a minefield. Most people or most businesses that I work with, generally what they do is they'll do a bit of market research, look at what the industry indicators look like, and then they either go above or below what the market's going, depending on how your product presentation or service presentation is going to look. Comparable value to competitive nature in the market, one would then determine whether you're going to go higher and lower than what the market average is. Testing pricing strategies is in another way is actually bringing in pilots and scarcity models. So what we could do, for example, is let's say you're launching a new service. You could start off by saying, right, this product is normally £3,000, but we are starting, we're starting afresh, coming into the market, and we're taking the first 20 people in at £900. From there, the price will be going up to 3,000. Now, what happens here is you can then adjust to see how many people come in for the £900 price, and is that because it's going from 900 to 3,000, or essentially are they coming in because it's a completely cheap offer? And then the retrospect part of the review comes when actually your price policy changes. So what is the uptake when it goes to 3,000 as well? So that's one way you can set the tone by setting out a pilot pricing with a scarcity offer that will kind of move people up. It's a little bit like what Netflix and people like that do. They'll give you your first 30 days for free, and then automatically put you onto a billing cycle. And then what they do is they create incremental prices. So if you think about someone like Netflix, it's about £9.99 a month subscription, which then they've now actually put up to £13.99. Now, if they've got X million of users or subscribers, and they've just added £2 or £3, they've automatically increased the amount of revenue that they've generated up front. But so pricing strategies could be also introduced with it, where you create a kind of an ethical bribe to get people in, and then you systematically get them onto a fixed price, and then you increase that price as you go over time. So a lot of the subscription-based services do that type of thing, where they just add £1 here or 50p here or £2 there. And what that's doing is all it's doing is actually increasing the bottom line margin that you're actually making there. Hopefully that helps. Mira, hi, I'm a freelance strategist. In the last 8 months, I've been able to scale my client list, and I'm operating at my most optimum level in a day. Well done. I spend a lot of time doing small chores. I have to save that time by hiring a virtual assistant. Okay. I want to save that time by hiring a virtual assistant. Is this a good idea, or should I look at an intern or an employee? All right, the age-old quandary, outsource or resource. Okay, so let's break this down for you. You're a small business, number one. You are currently spinning more plates than you should be. That's number two. The third thing about this is there is a difference in what happens depending on bringing an intern in, an employee in, or outsourcing to a virtual assistant. So let's start with the intern. Interns can be very cheap labor because they're very, so often enough, they actually have a lower qualification or experience or expertise, which in one sense sounds great. But the problem with an intern is that you have to manage them through everything. You have to build everything around them. So it's almost like you're right behind them while they're doing the work, which can then lead to you thinking to yourself, well, actually, I'm only doubling up the effort. I've got to stand behind the actual intern. Now, there could be certain things, remedial tasks, which you could actually put across. I mean, I've got interns here at Enterprise Lab, and what I do is I've built a system where I give them a bit of autonomy, but I also have to watch over what they do. Even small things like how they email back out to my clients. You know, if they don't use the right kind of culture in the email, it can have an impact on your brand. So be mindful of how interns work. Employees, do you really need an employee right now? Employees require you to set up their, pay their salaries, pay their taxes, get all of these kind of things in. You've got to contract them in. You've got to create terms and conditions. It costs you about 30% of the total value of the employee's salary to bring them in, and about 30% of the total value of the salary to take them back out. So sometimes if you haven't got if you haven't had the opportunity to build up the right contracts and protect yourself with the right insurances, etc., it could be a political minefield bringing an employee. Don't forget, employees, like we talked about earlier with Johan, it's a fact that you've got to build the culture in the business. You've got to build the systems, the processes, and let them come in with their culture. So employees are relevant, but they will take some time for you've got to build into your business everything before you start taking the employee on. That leaves the virtual assistant. And by and large, right now, it's probably more fashionable and more relevant for you to look at a VA, primarily because VAs come with a huge level of expertise, professionalism. They've already done that type of work. So it means that it's almost that they can take the ball and run with it. They also bring no emotion to the work that they do because they've probably got several clients exactly the same as you, so they can bring all of this in. So it's someone that can actually come in quite pragmatically, get on with the things, understand how the structures work, and leave you to actually focus on other areas. Yes, you can have a reporting structure, but it means that they're reporting to you as opposed to you having to chase like with an employee or an intern. The only challenge that you have with virtual assistants compared to an intern or potentially an employee is the cost. Sometimes virtual assistants can be a little bit higher on the rate. So you've got to balance it out for you. What works for you? Are you happy to pay a little bit of a premium, but then have someone there that you can kind of trust to run with the ball? Are you prepared to actually save money in terms of recruitment through the recruitment of an intern, but then actually invest a bit of time in managing them and helping them through the process? Or are you prepared to actually look to invest time and energy in your business to build this right structure to then bring an employee in that could naturally grow? So those are the kind of quandaries that you've got to think about when it comes to that. All right, okay. So Nuri from Instagram Stories, when do you plan for increasing capability and when capacity? Okay, you don't plan to increase capability. Capability is a direct reflection on your capacity. So you always plan capacity first. So it's the only thing that you've got to understand about the capability of the business is right now you're currently operating at a certain capacity and a certain capability. If I increase the capacity, it has an impact on capability. So your strategy then starts to think about, okay, what is it that I need to now do to be capable of servicing at this capacity? So the key to your answer, Nuri, the key to your question here, Nuri, is that think about your capacity, look at how your capacity is building, or even if it's closing or niching, whatever you're doing. So there are companies out there that are now starting to niche their capacity. There are others that are trying to grow their capacity. There are some who just want to plateau their capacity. You know, so I mean, like if you take someone like Mira, for example, she's right in the optimal space of where she wants to be. She doesn't need to increase capacity or decrease capacity. So here, Nuri, think about capacity first, and that will then lead the challenges to capability. They will automatically bring the questions. What is it that we need to do in our capability now? Do we need to increase the number of resource heads? Do we need to increase the level of training? Do we need to up our game in terms of the way that we show up? All of these questions will come on capability. Okay. Keep the questions coming. It's great. So Jackson from Twitter DM, interesting about the triangle. Never thought about that. Do you think one needs to have some clients under their belt to build a package solution that clients can do themselves? No, Jackson, no. That's not necessarily the point. I mean, there are people that come out with these types of DIY products straight away. I mean, you can go out there right now and you'll find that people that don't have necessarily the one-to-one clients, that just have a bunch of DIY products that they keep continuously build. But just be mindful of this, that as much as I say that, you know, put your answers all into one book, there is a psychology thing that goes on with your client. Clients, they'll come into your world asking for answers. They want answers to the questions that they don't know. You give them the answers, then they go, okay, I've got the answers now, but actually I need some help doing it with me. So that's where you go up to the next level. And then really the truth of it is they don't want the answers or help. They really just wanted someone else to do it for them in the first place. So this is the relationship that you have intrinsically with the triangle that you have. So clients could come through your new funnel and move up towards the higher part of your triangle, but you don't necessarily have to have an abundance of clients to be able to build that. The most important element of building DIY products is only take the things that you're constantly repeating, whether it's in your consultations or whether it's in your services, or the same things that keep coming up with your existing clients or clients of the past. That's the stuff that you want to take out, because repetition is time waste. Why waste your time, 10, 15 minutes of the day saying the same thing over and over and over again? You might as well just concrete that and put it into a book or whatever it is and just start selling that. So really, really good. Wow. Okay. Last 5 minutes, or 4 minutes, should I say. Okay. I think I'm going to finish all questions today. Teresa, hi, Ketan. What should I do if the market sector, including competitors, is on the downswing? Is it better to cut losses and exit, or see through the rough patch? Great question. First of all, let me start with that. It's really important to understand here that that following what other competitors are doing can be a very dangerous thing. So observing that and understanding why they're on the downswing would start to help you understand what you need to be able to do in your business. The next thing is you need to understand what will a downswing do for you, or what will an upswing do for you. There are times, like for example in the pandemic, during lockdown, a lot of businesses started to close down. They're starting to shrink, whereas there are other businesses that are trying to expand out. So think of things like Amazon were increasing capacity and capability while perhaps the restaurants were kind of closing themselves down. So other competitors in Amazon were taking on different products, products that you normally wouldn't see in there. So just think about that as we get there. So I've got 2 minutes left. I do want to take Ali's question. Good morning. I'm a copywriter, and I've also teamed up with other freelancers to be able to build out our offers. My question is, what is the best advice on getting new clients? I've just launched my website, but I don't have much traction yet. The only thing I can say to you is AIA, awareness, information, action. If you don't get out there and make people aware that you exist, they won't know how to come and interact with you. If you don't inform them on what you can do for them, they don't understand the relationship they can have with you. If you can create awareness and information, automatically it will trigger action from them. So I guess you've got to get out. Your digital marketing, get onto Clubhouse, go into Facebook groups, get out there networking, and actually start to see if you can add value into other people's projects as well. Remember the analogy that 10% of something is better than 100% of nothing. Whew. Right. So Poll results, and I've got a minute here. We asked you, have you ever sacrificed anything for your employees? 50% of you answered yes, and 50% of you answered no. Okay, halfway house today, right? But think about this. As a business owner, do you have to sacrifice things? What is it that you have to sacrifice? During the pandemic, people had to sacrifice perhaps their wages or the way that they do business just for their employees. It is something that will happen at some point in your life as a business owner. You will have to sacrifice something. But whatever it is that you have to sacrifice, make sure you do it within the realms of affordability. You're not a charity, so afford the sacrifice that you're doing. Understand that if you're taking time away from your family, that you're affording that time, or if you're not going to pay yourself because you're going to pay your employees, that you and your business can afford that. That's the only bit of advice I'm going to give you on that base of the poll. That's it. Thank you all for tuning in this morning. If you have any further questions for myself, you can DM me on Twitter at Ketan_Makwana. Coming up on Ask the Expert on Monday, oh my God, it's International Women's Day, and we've got the one and only Ariona on, the Managing Director of Majors Accounts. She's turned an established traditional practice into a digital one using technology to bring the accountant-client relationship much, much closer. So don't miss that one for sure. Tune in, learn, and get advice on how to grow your startup and how to make business sacrifices the right way. So exactly what I talked about earlier in this poll here. A reminder is that if you need any more advice, join the official Intuit QuickBooks SMB community on Facebook. Accountants and business experts are on hand 24/7. I really enjoyed answering your questions this morning. I really hope you found my tips useful. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you guys soon.